topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Hello and welcome to Fearless, Fabulous You. I am your host, Melanie Young, and thank you for joining me on this mighty beautiful spring day in March. Wherever you are, it's beautiful where I am in New Orleans. But why am I wearing my Elvis sunglasses, which I love? Because we're going to go to my home state, Tennessee. I'm a born and bred Chattanooga girl. But we're going to Nashville, or as I call it, Nashville, because it has some of the best dining these days. And this is where I picked up my Elvis sunglasses. We're going to talk music and food with a celebrity there. Yes, a celebrity who is got a new cookbook out. And I was listening to her music last night. She's like a TikTok phenomenon. And I just got in the mood for Tennessee so much. I said to my husband, David, we need to do a road trip. It's time. We're talking about country rock artist Hannah Dasher. She became a sensation in Nashville and beyond, has a loyal following and a very popular TikTok program, which we're going to talk about. Her cookbook, which is also tied to TikTok, is Stand By Your Pan. That's right, Stand By Your Pan. It's her brand new cookbook with some really fun comfort food recipes from the South. We're going to have a little toss-up about squash pudding, for example. So you may or may not have heard Hannah's lyrics. I was listening to them last night when I was making the almond torte from the Stand By Your Pan cookbook, because I do test the recipes. And I was listening to one of my favorite songs, Cryin All the Way to the Bank. I hope we all get to do that sometime. And I hope Hannah's doing it with her music. And the other is The Other Damn Half. She's got a new EP out. I had to look up EP, extended play, release called Scattered, Smothered, and Covered, March 27, 2026 release. Stand By Your Pan, her online cooking series, has legions of followers. Makes me wonder why I'm not doing that, but I'm not, because I do this show instead. But thanks to people like Hannah, I have the cookbook, and you can too, because it's just out. And it has 100 easy, affordable recipes with a dash of Dasher's secret sass and kitchen confidence. So Hannah Dasher, welcome to Fearless, Fabulous You.
Thank you, Queen. Take a breath. Goodness, I've never heard of squash pudding. That's interesting. You mean squash casserole?
We call it squash pudding in Chattanooga, and some people call it squash pie. And I can't force feed it on my husband. I've tried I grew up with it. Minnie and Bertie, the help, made it. Mom, grandmother made it. I have my recipe. Your recipe and my recipe are completely different. And I still can't get my husband, David the Yankee, to eat it.
Oh, heavens. Well, pudding, that must be like, it makes me think of like corn pudding, which is kind of a Yankee thing. Squash casserole. Heavens. A lot of folks just keep it simple.
It's my ultimate comfort food, Hannah. I got to tell you, every time I go home, there was a squash, we call it casserole, some people pie, waiting for me, sometimes two of them.
Squash pie.
One just for me and one for everybody else. Yeah, and then when I served it to my mother, when she came to New York, she said, oh, there's just too many onions in this recipe.
Oh, never too many. But anyhow, well, thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm tickled with talking to another Tennessee girl. Although I hail from Georgia, I claim Tennessee too.
I know. So let's talk about your background. Where'd you grow up? Who are your people? That's a Southern thing.
Right. I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and 7 or 8 generations deep. My people established the colony. And anyway, so some of those old recipes are going to be in this cookbook, Stand By Your Pan. And anyhow, but I moved to Nashville when I graduated, and excuse me, and go dogs. And I sold Mercury outboard and motors and tracker boats at Bass Pro Shops against my wishes, obviously. But you know what? I was paying my own way. I slept on a mattress on the floor in an attic, and I didn't have a kitchen. I ate 2 sandwiches a day, and I got fired for writing songs on the job, and Brad Paisley wound up picking up one of those songs. And anyway, I was in a major publishing deal by that time, and then a big record deal at RCA. And the last few years, I've been doing this independently, and that's when we've really seen a huge, kind of a boom in my following, and touring and all the good things. So it's crazy how God works. And now we've got a cookbook.
Well, not having money puts fire in the belly. I've been there. I haven't slept on a mattress, but we sold everything to get out of debt and lived on the road for almost 2 years. We were houseless, but by choice. And it was very glamorous because we stayed in other people's second homes during the pandemic. But you do what you do to get by and get ahead. And it's really hard in the music business. I know that a lot of people play for tips. And so if you go to Nashville, everybody, tip generously.
Right. I never did that circuit. So, but yeah, a lot of folks like to go downtown. I was the struggling songwriter, if you will. So I had a house cleaning on the side. I'd leave my rights with my heroes, or the artists that like Lanny Wilson or Ian Munzik or Ashley McBride or whatever. And then they'd go off to their, on tour, and I would go scrub people's toilets with the same publishing deal they had. But I didn't have that kind of help. So, but I did that. I cleaned houses on the side so that I could afford to pay my band on the weekends, because, it's a pay to play thing until you can afford to be the headliner.
You got to pay your dues, and it creates some amazing blues.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Dolly all the way. Love Dolly and Little Big Town. I'm a Little Big Town girl.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I am. I love that band. I would be a groupie to go travel Little Big Town. Lainey Wilson only came to me because I live now in Louisiana. So I grew up as a Southern rock. I mean, Leonard Skinner. Oh my God. All my brothers, when we did our Southern road trip, we were like, oh, the plane went down here. We'll take a picture. We were doing all the Southern rock tour and ended up in Tuscumbia, Alabama, at the Music Hall of Fame. And God, Nashville has the best country music hall of fame. Yeah. So big fan.
Alabama does have a great music hall of fame. I've been there twice. I love it. But I've been dying to go on like a blues tour where I start in Memphis. I call in a favor. We go upstairs at Graceland with that favor. And then we kind of just trickle down the state of Mississippi, and then land, the final place would be where the crash site was, the Skinner crash site. I'm a big Leonard Skinner fan, and, I've been on the road with him as well. And I would just love to have a piece of that airplane because, as you know, from the book, I collect just pieces of country music and rock and roll history, and we show some pictures of that in the book as well. But I'd love to add that to my collection.
Well, you better be hitting up some yard sales and estate sales because they're all there. In fact, my mother's would have been a bonanza for you. They kept the Elvis tribute pull-out section to Elvis when he'd passed. I still have it. I mean, it's fun to collect things like that, and it's a really great time. I'm curious, was music always in your, we'll talk about Cookie, but was music always in your blood? Were you writing songs as a kid, or did it come to you later?
I could sing before I could talk. I didn't really start writing songs until college. It was my parents divorced, and it became a new outlet for me just to release some emotions and just to put that on a page. And it's crazy how God works. He used a hurt like that to make something, something great and something that would reach other people. So I'm still writing. Well,
a lot of country music and country rock, which I want to say, because there's country music, there's different types of country. Your country rock is based on pain, divorce, death, debt, cheating, lying, screwing, drinking.
Blessed. And Jesus.
Coon dogs.
Lord.
Trucks.
Divorced. But yeah, I do have fun writing songs like Cryin All the Way to the Bank. I'm tickled you were, listening to that. But I'm really excited about this new EP. I wanted to pull a song out of the vault right in time for the release of the cookbook, and a song that had a little bit to do with food. I pulled out a song, Waffle House. I wrote it with Hall of Famer Mark D. Sanders. It's funny. It's kind of a don't come home drinking with loving on your mind thing. So we just released that along with the cookbook, and I wanted to pay homage to some of my heroes, like Tammy Wynette, Hank Jr.
I
Fans,
love her.
yes, but like fans have been asking me for years, record Stand By Your Man, record Stand By Your Man, please, please. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, then it's kind of the gimme. I'm going to do it my way. So this Friday, on the 27th, the Scattered, Smothered, and Covered EP, I call them half records, but the little record drops. So there's a handful of songs, including Waffle House, Stand By Your Man, and a few others for folks to enjoy. And it's fresh. It's a fresh new sound. There's no auto tune, no AI, no tracks. It's just raw musicianship and a good old one pass vocal.
So where will my people get to see this or watch this?
Wherever they stream music. And
right.
see me live. I'm on the Grand Ole Opry again coming up April the 30th.
Love.
And I'm going to do a book signing there during intermission. So we're going to try to get through as many books as we can. I'm going to try to sign. And if I can snap a picture with you, we'll do that too. But right now the book is available wherever they buy books. You can get it in Walmart, at Walmart stores, online. You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all the things, and Indigo in Canada, across tickled. But bring your books to my shows and I'll sign them there, y'all.
Let's just flash that book cover up while we talk. Juan's our wonderful engineer, and she's holding it. Juan's going to put the photo up in the lower right so everybody can see it. Let's just move it a little bit away from her face and shoulder so we can see, or you can put it in front of my face and shoulder if possible. But anyway, so Japan, we know kind of where that came from. You created your series during COVID. Many people did because they couldn't get traveling. So you got cooking. Perfect. Thank you. Talk to me about how that all got started and when did you realize you suddenly had this huge fan base on food?
Well, the tours were shut down. We couldn't tour. And all of my girlfriends, I was in my, late 20s, early 30s, what was it, 4 years ago? So yeah, but girls my age don't cook. And we're spending ridiculous amounts of money on groceries. And I thought, my Lord, let me teach y'all how to cook. Good heavens. And so the mission of this book originally was, to teach Briley how to cook like Brenda. Because I think if you can, read directions, navigate a map, then you can read a recipe. And I like the pedal steel guitar. I didn't want to see some of these old classics die. And so traveling as a touring musician and a foodie, I realize all soul food's not created equal. And where I come from, Melanie, what we do down there in the Low Country is very special. And you got your own thing in New Orleans, but in the Low Country, it's like where the Austrian and European cooking skills met the African descendants of the Geechee Gullah people, who are known for wearing bright colors. They really, they paint their homes bright colors. They really, really pour that into their food as well. Lots of big, bold flavors. And so, in my opinion, these are the best versions of the classics of the greens with ham hocks, the black-eyed peas, that you're going to find and that are going to be easy to follow as well. So that's kind of.
I love Low Country cooking. Sometimes I like it better than Cajun Creole, which sometimes burns my belly. But that one of my things is collard greens. So we were in. I did a Nashville to Asheville, and then Chattanooga to Charleston, Savannah. I do road trips around different holidays, and collard greens were everywhere. And I wasn't allowed to eat collard greens as a young girl. That's what Minnie, the lady who worked for us, would cut up and cook. And my mother was like, ugh, gross. But I love them. And you have a dip in here, a collard green dip.
I've never known that didn't like collard greens. But yes, ma'am, collard green dip. Well, I mean, spinach dip is good, but it's a little basic in my opinion. If you got well-seasoned greens, you can even use the old bowl greens in a can. But collard green dip, it's fun. It's interesting, but it's delicious and easy to make. I just, I whipped it up in front of a live audience here in, Tucson, I think last weekend. It was fun at South by Southwest as well in Austin. And it's a hit. Eat it with pork rinds. Oh, it's so good, girl.
One of the things that's interesting, Hannah, and a lot of my snobby food people, and I grew up, I had a long career. I started the James Beard Awards, and I work with some of the snobbiest people in the world. elitist, entitled. One day I'm going to write a tell-all. But
I
you use cake mix and cans, and you're totally cool with it, which is fine. A lot of people do, including my own mother, late mother.
Well,
But some of my food, people like, she's too drained. So your collard green dip actually calls for a can of collard greens. And let me say, collard greens are not easy to handle.
Correct. If they don't have any made, like I would make collard dip with my leftover collard greens that I'll happen to freeze, or that I didn't use from New Year's Day. You can frame those and make it right. But I don't expect you to go to the trouble to fix ham hocks and to go wash, cut the greens. It takes 2 or 3 or 4 hours to do that. Obviously, we're rock star shit to do, right? So use a can. I'm a country singer, not a cook. Loretta Lynn, Tammy Wynette, Reba McEntire all have cookbooks, all cook. And I'm inspired by the fact that, like Tammy and Loretta, could have a meal on the table while rushing off to go play the Grand Ole Opry. And I think that's an art. That's a lifestyle that's dying. And I want to keep some of that around, because I think we owe it to ourselves and our families, married, kids or not, to have a meal at the table, if not once or twice a week, with your phones and your devices turned, off or away, and just engage with one another. Because that's where I learned to say the blessing. I learned to pray at the table. I learned to feel that.
Nice.
My parents in conversation. I learned to engage with adults at the table. I learned to appreciate the hands that prepared the meal, and to respect my family in that way, who was putting the roof over my head, and the food in my belly.
I completely agree. And I got into the habit living in New York of just going out all the time. Like I kept shoes in my oven. Okay. I really didn't have any food anywhere other than champagne. And then that was my single girl life. And, well documented. And then I met domestic David, whose mother was a home cook for 3 sons and very thrifty New England. And the guy just loves to cook. He just loves the mise en place. And usually I'm asleep by the time he has the dinner ready, because he really does a beautiful home cooked meal. But I'm like, when I'm hungry, I'm hungry. But we have learned, and we have like a marriage, 19 years now, over 20 together. We have learned to coexist in the land of, I want to make reservations and he wants to make dinner.
Well, as long as there's a good balance. I love that. But back to your James Beard, comment. I'm a foodie, and like I'm friends with Joshua Wiseman and now Ford Fry as well, who's a fabulous chef with some great restaurants here in Nashville. And I can make a bechamel sauce if I need to. But my fans, my audience, I have to write for my audience as a songwriter and an entertainer. And so I wanted to include a lot of these recipes that went viral. And again, like avocado green and things that I want to keep around, these tacky shirts from the 70s that I just love so much. I wanted these recipes to cater to strike a nostalgic chord within people, and to show this generation, is it what, Gen Z, the next one behind? And I'm a millennial, but again, I want them to know how to fix this stuff, so that while they're taking care of me in retirement, I can have what I want. I can have some collards and macaroni, or some cat head biscuits.
Darn straight. You got to relate to the people who relate to you. And let's face it, not everybody. A lot of people are single moms or working a couple of jobs, because it's getting more expensive to buy food. Living is more expensive, and food is getting expensive. And sometimes you just got to, I just want people to eat vegetables. So I'm just grateful if people get any kind of vegetable, frozen, canned, or fresh. And sometimes it's not easy to get fresh. Trust me. Ask me that in August in New Orleans, when there is nothing here, because everything is just dead. Crazy. So, I think it's great. I just want to note, in addition to that collard green dip, you have collard greens. My way to get everybody to eat them here is to put the apple cider vinegar and some sweet into it to tenderize the collard greens. That's the secret, right?
Absolutely. That's in there too. And a little Holy Spirit, girl. Absolutely. But one of my favorite dishes in the book is the fried chicken livers with port wine sauce. It's so good. It's really rich. And if you don't have port wine, Bing cherries with the juice from Bing cherries is delicious too. And but to me, this is about saving money. Chicken livers aren't expensive. Oxtail is through the roof. Can you believe it now? But this is, this teaches you ways to pinch pennies, because I had to do that for so long in Nashville. I've lived off of $40 to $50 a week for groceries. And so now I'm just grateful that I open my fridge and it's full, or I can go to the grocery store and buy whatever I want. I'm so grateful. Or when I look at all my guitars, stacked up, I remember a time when I had to sell them all so that I could pay my band, borrow guitars to write songs and borrow guitars to play shows with. So again, I'm just grateful to have what I have.
Well, cooking can root you and remind you of your roots. And when I was just starting out and living on $50 a week from Tilly the Teller in Atlanta, Georgia, when
Wow.
Tellers at Tilly the Teller, we would I ate so much tuna fish and quesadillas with my other Melanie, my roommate, because I had roommates and we were both like living on $50 a week. And you just, that's what you do. You learn to you shop wisely and cook wisely as well, or in my case, just make it easy and fast because we were career girls. I think it's great. The squash casserole, which you have here, Vidalia onions, red pepper, of course, yellow squash. What got me is you add chicken soup, scratch from scratch. You do a from scratch cream of chicken soup, or you can go get the other brand that makes it regular. And that was the one thing. And grated carrots. I thought that was interesting. And bell pepper. Mine is just squash, 2 eggs, cheese, onions, and a little bit of breadcrumbs. And then my grandmother would put grape nuts on top or cornflakes on top. And that was it. So yours has a lot more going on.
Well, I've never had squash casserole that didn't have bacon in it and cheese and a little bit of, either mayo and eggs or sour cream and eggs, or, just have a little bit. You got a little sour cream or a little something in a casserole. And I prefer homemade cream of chicken because I save my chicken fat, and I've got, celery and onion all the time, but I don't use it. I chop up and just keep it in the freezer so I can whip that up really quickly without the MSG and stuff in it, and it really just kicks your recipes up a notch. I teach you how to make that as well, which I don't think is rocket science, but a lot of folks, my followers aren't, chefs, if you will. Yeah. And so it's really, it's helping them win little food competitions at their county fairs and all that, or hurt people's feelings at family get-togethers. I don't know.
I interviewed a woman who was the #1 blue ribbon country fair cookbook woman. Really? I interviewed her. I can't remember her name, but Carrie Bachman, the publisher, she hooked me up to best publicist ever. And she was a delight because cooking at county fairs is a big deal. It's a big cooking competition.
What Grand Champion, Georgia State Fair, Grand Champion ice cream. Boy, how was I? 13, 2 years ago. That's fun. I don't like competitive cooking. I don't like competitive singing. If I had $1 for every time America's Got Talent or The Voice has reached out to me, you know what I mean? I could buy a new wig, but I do it for love and for fun and the music and obviously the cooking. I'm a country singer before I'm a cook, but I'm so glad that people resonated with, my nostalgic kitchen and my nostalgic clothes and with me. And it's helped bring non-country music fans into the Hannah Dasher world. And I'm just tickled.
Well, let me tell you, cooking to country music is really fun. Cooking to any music is really fun. Everybody should cook to music. I have WWOZ radio on all the time here because it's the greatest station ever. It's based in New Orleans. You can hear it everywhere, but we switch off sometimes. And like I said, last night I was listening to some of your music while I was cooking, and I made the easy almond tort. It had 3 words in it, make it easy, almond, and tort, because I bake. I have a fear of proteins. David handles all the meats and stuff like that. But this was so easy because easy is incredibly just softened butter, sugar. I may try honey next time. Flour, 2 eggs, salt, vanilla extract, almond, and slivered almond. I mean, it's so easy.
Yeah, I wouldn't use honey because it liquefies whenever it would change it. You wouldn't get that chewy, decadent texture that this thing renders. So but as long as you got a cast iron skillet and some aluminum foil, honey, you don't even have to have a hand mixer. I can whisk it up, with elbows.
Yeah. The chewiness. So we let it cool. I had it this morning, and the chewiness just got to me. It's saying to me, because it reminded me of it was a little denser than an almond croissant, but it had that chewy flavor texture. I love.
Like
so
a blonde
good.
cocaine, right?
Yeah, really, really, really good. And now I have to ask you about this one. I haven't made it, but I had to laugh. And what's the connection to Naomi Judd? Possum pie. Possum pie is in the book.
Yes, yes. Well, that funny Naomi story. I was working the red carpet at where was I? The CMA, the CMT Awards is what it was actually, and Winona and Naomi were coming through as well. Anyway, and Winona was like, she came up and got me. She's like, "Hey, I want my mom and I've been watching your TikTok videos during quarantine. We love you. Can we please get a picture? I want Mama to meet you." And I was like, "Yes, girl." I was, I'm a huge Judds fan, so I just could cry inside. But anyway, the first thing,
I know.
when I was like, well, Mama, this is Hannah. We were watching her videos, and Naomi goes, "Bitch, you better take that wig off of your head. I'm supposed to have the tallest hair here." And I laughed. And she passed away just 2 weeks after. And so I wanted to include that moment and and dedicate a recipe to them. And it came down to that Jell-O salad that Winona loves, or Naomi's possum pie. And possum pie has such an interesting title. It's like, you got to see what is that, but it's basically our classic chocolate delight that we call it back home in the deep South. And I just make mine a little bit richer.
It looks like a lot of fun, as is the banana pudding. I'm going to try your cat head biscuits because I love to make biscuits.
Yes.
And I'm going to try that one next because, I'm going to get out the cast iron skillet. We've got a lot, but you got to try it. Yeah.
This size. It's got to be this is a number 3 skillet, or like an 8-inch by 2-inch. Like when I made these on Rachel Ray a couple of years ago, they had an 8-inch, but it was like a little shallow skillet. So it needs to be deep because you're basically frying these things in lard. So follow these recipes to a T. Don't make substitutions. Follow them to, and you'll get the texture. You'll get great results. Otherwise, don't tell folks it's my recipe.
Well, particularly with biscuits, because I did an article called the Biscuit Whisperer. I had biscuit. Yeah. I had oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. I had Chadwick Boyd, Virginia Willis, and the great Natalie Dupree. They were my biscuit whisperers. They helped me because I was like, I got to master a biscuit, and I had to master the biscuit I grew up with. And I was living in New York. So it all started with the white lily flour, the white lily flour. White Lily was so impressed by the article. They sent me the world's biggest rolling pin.
Did they?
It has to be. And you put baking soda in it, which is my little secret to give the height, besides putting together in the buttermilk. I mean, it's just the recipe I follow on White Lily, but the White Lily doesn't add the baking soda in. I added it and you added it because I like my biscuits tall.
Yeah, a little bit of soda. Well, and you're a Chattanooga girl, and I believe that's their home, Martha White Lily over there.
Yeah, Martha White is somewhere down there in White Lily. They're all in Tennessee, along with Little Debbie.
There's a science to biscuit making that a lot of folks underestimate. The editor of this cookbook included. He flew down from Jersey and wanted to watch me do this in my kitchen, literally. Because there's a certain science to cat head biscuits. What's a biscuits in general? It took me a couple of years. One of my little debutante friends at Georgia. Georgia taught me, or tried to teach me, and I just didn't do it enough to get really good at it. And so I used quarantine to teach myself. And because
that's what I did.
I look like I ought to make a good biscuit. You look like you've got a thigh gap. You look skinny. But anyway, I'm a little healthy. So
Honey, I moved to New Orleans and gained 20 pounds, and my doctor said, you are going to have a heart problem because you moved to New Orleans, you gained 20 pounds. Everybody had the COVID-19 pounds. And I live in a high fat, high salt, high everything area, but I had to tailor down. I also just had some surgery, so I'm like,
you look fabulous, darling. You do.
You.
It's a balance for me too. I've been on a weight loss journey for several years, and before there was an Olympic shot available, and Wilson Mebinier, celebrity trainer, he is a dear friend of mine, and he's gotten me those Sheryl Crow guitar arms that I've wanted for years. And I mentioned him in the book, and there are some healthy options as well as stand by your pan. You don't have to sacrifice flavor as well. A lot of these recipes are some that I use for meal prep during the week that fans wanted to know, and like the Get Your Man green beans, and that my viral chili that's on there. I use ground turkey, and Brian Baumgartner from The Office. people watch the TV show The Office. It's hilarious with the big chili episode. It's my favorite episode. It's hilarious. But he put out a chili cookbook a couple years ago, and so he's also featuring this chili in that book. But it's a great recipe.
No, the white chili. Yeah. So what's the Get Yo Man? The Get Yo Man has a recurring theme in the recipes. What's that all about? Get Yo Man.
The Get Yo Man. Well, it's just my way of saying that it's damn good, and it might get you a ring, or a proposed to, or a husband rather. Anyway, I don't know about you, but when I'm dating a fella, they'll frequently propose over a meal, only to joke or pretend. Rather, I haven't pulled the trigger on one yet that I want to keep. But anyway, it's just a Hannah-ism, just to kind of make you laugh when you read it.
Are you in a relationship now, or are you happy and single?
Not. Everyone thinks I'm dating that cornbread cowboy in the viral internet series that we do. The cat.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of stuff on the internet, but I don't believe it until I hear it from the facts.
Oh man, I love him. We're good friends, but we are just friends. That's purely platonic. But no, I'm waiting for Scott Eastwood to call me. He still hasn't.
Yeah.
Hoping that he will.
Well, I got my man, and he loves to cook, clean.
Yeah.
He's convinced I'm going to poison him if I do anything with food or dishes. Brings me coffee in the morning. So my new theme is I don't want to be a nurse or a purse. I do write lyrics in my sleep and write them down by the way. I don't want to be a nurse or a purse. That's what most of my friends. One of my friends says she just wants to meet a band that's she's from Atlanta. She's so funny. One of her friends says she wants to meet a band the numbers are 100, 103, and 108. He's 100 years old with a temperature of 103, and he has 108 million in the bank. And she wants to meet him.
I love that.
Oh my God. Gold digger.
Rich one. My hoochie grandmother that anyway, people have been loving that series online, and with my Nana, who been married 5 times, and so was Tammy Wynette, but Nana's also a fabulous cook, and so a lot of folks have asked. Yes, I do talk about the fun hoochie grandmother in this cookbook, Stand By Your Man. But they can get it again anywhere. Get it at Amazon, or they can buy it in Walmart or on Walmart.com. Books with me and Barnes giving me a lot of love. So, but this book, whether you cook or not, is going to leave you in a better place than it found you.
Cooking leaves you in a better place, and eating better food will leave your body in a really better place. I'm curious. My grandmother was very important to me, Hannah. And when I was packing up my mother's house in Chattanooga in 2022, after she passed, I found in the bottom of the basement, and all the junk, binders of recipes from my grandmother, handwritten, noting the little lady, the Mahjong friends, I'm going to write a book, and we started cooking them.
Good. You know? I hope you better treasure those things. And
I do.
My sister had a lot that burned in a house fire, and so so anytime that anybody can, I love a lot of these food snobs editors make fun of these church cookbooks, but if they really had the food out of them, and they knew about some of these secrets these old ladies took with them to their grave, they wouldn't underestimate the art of Southern cuisine and soul food. And so I share some of these secrets in this book.
Is there a recipe that connects you most with your grandmother, and is it a maternal or paternal grandmother?
The butter beans and dumplings for sure.
Butter beans and dumplings. Yum.
Yes, connected with my Nana. Or the chicken pie. That one's 7 or 8 generations. Connects me with my other grandmother as well. So, and my kitchen connects me with my grandmother's. It's decorated with belongings from their kitchens, and it takes me back in a rat race of a world. I like to step into my little honky tonk Graceland. It's like Mayberry.
I love that. I've never been to Graceland, but I've been to Memphis a lot. God knows I've been to Nashville. I love Tennessee. The only reason we moved is that I was sad, and New Orleans made me happy. I lost my mom. I lost my dad. There was nobody left. My mom died. Nobody brought us casseroles. That was the killer right there. Like when my dad died, there was 10 casseroles at the door, right? No food train. My mother died right before Christmas. We had the Feast of 7 Fishes at Red Lobster lunch, and no one bought us anything except for the yard man, Wilma. Her dad was the yard man. She brought us a cake.
That's the beauty. Is that, well, that's so sad. That's something
I
that
know.
I took for granted, I think, growing up, and we talk about here in Stand By Your Man is how food is a ministry. That's a section of this book, and it takes no
Mhm.
time. Like when you're making that chicken pie we just talked about, it makes two big pies, so it takes no extra time. It's just literally, if you're going to put one in the freezer, and if you're having surgery or someone dies, literally you just pop it in the oven. Literally, as if you were to go to the store and buy a chicken pot pie, you're just
Yeah.
getting a homemade one out of your freezer that's already been made, saving that money and that time, and then you're showing up to someone's door and making their week. It
It's
no
yeah,
time.
so true. Showing up when somebody's moving or God knows has gone through
Having
surgery.
a
Like I
food
just had
holiday,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, or their cat dies. If you
Yeah.
must, cats, you know,
Yeah.
there's that. So, but I encourage everybody, to get this thing. And if you don't have a church home, finding a little church. These mega churches are cool, but finding a little country church that's got families in it, like where you can put on an apron, not just a bib, but where you can serve as well. It does so much for your community and your,
Hmm.
to have a family that isn't your blood, to be there to love on you, to cook for you, and
Hmm.
just to have around you. I'm so blessed to have, my little friends around me like that. So
That's good because I think that was community really makes where you live matter. And if you can't find your community or your community has left you, maybe it's time to move on to a new one. We love New
it's
Orleans. We have a community here. It's like awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I
Everybody
still love Tennessee, and it was up there with Charleston as to where to move, but we're here for now until we get blown away by a hurricane. Then we'll move back to Tennessee for a while, and life goes on. But I could visit Nashville over and over. There's a group there called La Dame d'Escoffier.
Ooh,
Great chapter. Need to hook you up since you have a book. I'll do that. I'm a member here. I'm a member everywhere because I've been part of it since practically the inception. It started 50 years ago, which
is it
means
like CAR but culinary? Is
it's
that what?
women of fine food and beverage. So you will find some of those people, but it's a lot of the chefs, and whatnot, but a lot of cookbook authors. And, I got to tell you, I've been food shamed during COVID, I joined some of those, I'm making bread, I'm making there were like these food groups. And I was so proud that I was actually cooking because I don't. And I showed a photo of my whatever. And some food snob was like, that's the worst looking picture of whatever I was made. And I just was like, that's it. I unjoined everybody. I was like, don't food shame me. I'm just cooking.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not about what it looks like. It's about how it tastes, unless you're entering some contest. And like, I'm not big on contests when it comes to eating. I don't like eating contests. I don't like cooking contests. I just want you to eat and enjoy it. You don't need to get indigestion worrying about if it's going to get accepted or approved, right?
yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Well, if you follow the instructions here and stand by your pan, you're going to get pretty results. And your second time around will probably be even better than your first. And
Yeah.
I want you to feel confident in what you're putting out there on the table, and when people are putting it in their bellies. But I am so tickled that you made time for me on this show, Melanie. You are an absolute doll and a just ball of fire. And I can imagine everybody that meets you keeps you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a kept woman now. Somehow I've lasted with David, and I'm not easy. I am not easy. But you got to find that man who'll stand by you. And he stands by his pan. I think a book is a lot of fun. Again, stand by your pan. It's hannah-dasher.com, right?
Yep, they can or to find me on socials. I'm on Facebook. It's one of my most popular channels right now is Facebook. So at
Me too.
Hannah Dasher, HANNAHDASHER. Yes, TikTok is at Hannah Damn Dasher. Instagram Hannah Dasher. YouTube Hannah Dasher. We're growing the YouTube right now, but yeah. Or they can find my tour schedule as well, hannah-dasher.com.
Well, if you get down to New Orleans, give me a jingle.
Love to see you. And we'll go to a fun restaurant and we'll let Super Dave pay for that.
Yeah, we're all about music down here. I mean, we have music on all day. Jazz Fest coming up, French Quarter Festival, free.
Jazz
Free.
Kelly, I had Rolling Stones like last year, year before, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, we listen. Music is just part of our music, and eating and wine, of course, are part of our life, and travel. So, and if I get up to your way, you never know when I'm coming to Tennessee. I haven't been there since I left, but you never know. But a lot of fun. Thank you for making time with me. You can follow me and we'll connect at Melanie Fabulous. And then my other very intense wine focused show and fine dining show, The Connected Table. But it's been great. I love what you're doing, and keep up the good work and your dasher of sass and the wonderful style that you have for what you do, and keep cooking and keep playing great music and writing good songs.
You're an angel. Come see me on the road. We'd love to have you anytime, Melanie.
My pleasure.
Stand by your
Absolutely.
plane.
All right. You've been listening to Fearless, Fabulous You and watching. You can see this again on Melanie Young at YouTube and listen on 65 podcast channels. And as always, you have the life to live. Choose to live on your terms, not on terms that other people set for you. You can make changes at any age and stage. Get your creative juices going in the kitchen or wherever you want it to be. And always stay fearless and fabulous. Thank you.